Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Miranda of Miranda's Cauldron. How's everybody doing this wonderful Wednesday morning, day 6 of the Rough Draft Challenge, or whatever writing challenge you are doing this week, this month. I have a little gray striped kitty who is climbing up my leg, so we're going to have a visitor. He had a rough night the other night. This little guy, could you imagine him hissing and growling at his friends, and including his, I can't really say his mama because his mama's an outside kitty. But yeah, that was him, never for last. And then he started again last night. But at least last night he didn't scream as long. Whatever it was, it must have been traumatic. Anyhow, I was looking for my Cats Against Anxiety cards. They're not in my regular spot, so I'm thinking we might need that today. But in the meantime, let's start out with some spirit cards. Animal spirit. I will do my cat wisdom cards later. Okay, I'm going to shuffle up the little cards. I'm really liking these mini decks, pocket decks. What do they call them? They call them pocket decks. Doesn't say enough. I think I've seen them quite a lot, pocket decks. They're like perfect size. Like this is the deck and this is the phone. It's perfect. Perfect for little hands. I do remember my daughter when she was, I want to say preschool, so she might have been between the ages of 3, and I think she even did this in kindergarten. She had a mini deck of tarot. One of my first ones. Here. I love this little crone card behind me. All my important stuff is on here. This was her first deck. She saw it. She says, "Mommy, I'm going to use your cards." So she used it. Perfect for her little hands. So anyhow, I'm going to finish shuffling this. I'm going to drop one down and see what card that is for us today. The elephant. We all know what elephants. The main thing for elephants is they never forget. Let's see what the handy dandy guidebook says. And hopefully the music doesn't bother anyone. This way then I don't need to put music on my phone. I can just listen to this stuff. And if you guys like it, I'll keep it. Since I discovered the last time I started playing it, I can still mute myself because you can still hear it. Oh, and what did Mickie little kitty do? What? Oh, I guess it's nothing to worry about. Just ended up having 2 kind of desktop things happening. Kitties, am I right? Okay, I wish these little animals were in alphabetical order within their own little section, but they're not. The elephant book says, unstoppable and wise. When in balance, one-pointed focus, generous, loving. When out of balance, misunderstands fate. To bring into balance, trust. So I guess we need to trust ourselves and those around us. Interesting. Okay, so what is everybody doing during these sprints? In case you are wondering, this is not my normal time slot. Angela, one of the admins from the Heart Readings Writing Community, she normal sprints at this time and Fridays. But I decided that since she's out of the country, actually she's right out of this continent for a while, but I decided to pick up her time slot. So I'll be back on Friday. And then next week will be the same. It'll be Monday for sure and Wednesday. I'm not sure if I'm going to do Friday or not, because next weekend is the author to Sprintathon host. It started with Jenna, the Soul Writer. and we're going to be doing some live sprints. I think she starts at like 4 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning and goes to a bunch of us hosting for 3 hour time slots. So check us all out, and hopefully you can come. That's not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So let's get to the first set of sprints. I'm going to use the keyboard created by HK Darkwood, and who also streams Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And she will be sprinting today at 30 Eastern. No. Yes. 3:30 Eastern. I'm still trying to adjust because she's on the same. She doesn't change her clocks in Iceland. So that's good. So it's still the same 2:30. So I think for Central. So I do believe it is at 3:30. I'm going to bring this back to 25 minutes and see you on the other side of 25 minutes. Happy writing. Oh, there we go. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard today, but my mic did not want to unmute. Very weird. And earlier, I couldn't switch back from banner, click the right banner, and switch back to comments. It's been a day. But apparently, it's been happening a lot in StreamYard, and YouTube's having technical problems. So we have JM pop in. Hello. See, now it's not showing. There we go. Hi, I'm working on finishing up my latest novel so I can get started on my project for November. Are you working on the Rough Draft Challenge with the Heart Rhythms Writing Community and Sarah? I have seen you in the other sprints, so I'm thinking that's probably the challenge you're talking about. I wanted to get back to drafting my Sydney Canadian novel setting. That was kind of where my other two series is based in the States. One in the Boston area and the other one in California. But this one, Maple River, that I started a couple years ago, haven't really been at it for very long, and I've only been writing like on certain months because I'm trying to get my other books ready to be published for the first time. Oh my goodness, I still can't believe I had beta readers. And I wanted to get them out there published this year. However, I'm thinking it might not be until next year, but that happens. JM also says, clicking on it, is it going to show? It's a little slow. Yes, it's a little slow this morning. Maybe because it's so cold and windy in the winter here. I didn't get any work out yet. I took a shower and got ready for the day. To get ready for the day first. So you're over on the West Coast. I'm stuck in the middle right now after the time change. I'm in the same time zone as Texas. I'm doing both Kate's 1000K. Is that like in 1 month, or is that the one that stretches out for the whole quarter? And Sarah's rough draft at 35,000 words will count towards both challenges. Oh, awesome. That makes sense. I've signed up for the app and all that. And I signed up. I put my numbers in for the first day, even though it wasn't really drafting. It was more like I love index cards. And for my very first novel, back when my children were in elementary school, now they've all grown up and in their 20s and living on their own, so it's fun. And then I decided to use the smaller index cards, the only 3x5s. But when I thought I would be able to start doing the outlining for the next 10 chapters, I was going through my index cards, and let's just say it was a mess. For some reason, I had like 2 or 3 different index cards for each of my main characters, and they weren't all the same. So I decided to go back and change that. So that took a few task blocks. At least I wasn't alone because I was doing it during other people's sprints. And then I took Saturday off. Yeah, I know, it's weird. I actually took a double down day off. However, I was able to spend it with my grandbaby and family, so that was fun. And I've just been trying to get back into the rhythm of writing, and it's been challenging because I've spent most of this past year with revisions and rewrites, and I finished up one book, and then I went through another one. So I'm kind of struggling between going back and doing so I can get all that done, because I'm kind of leaning towards finishing revisions, happy with book 2 before just in case I decide to change things, which is so like me. One for the quarter. Okay, yeah, that's doable. Because if you can manage to do 50K in a month, which I still can't believe I did that for two years in a row, I do find revising a lot easier than writing. I'm really liking the index cards. I do not do digital planning. Like I opened up. Well, I guess it's like what you download. I guess you really don't download because it's a web based. But I went to Notion, played around in Notion for a while. I might have just the layout and everything digital just freaked me out. So have been using just journals, notebooks. Then it was hard to keep swapping back and forth from one section to another and putting them all together. So I'm really liking the index cards. for my Witches of Solace, which is set back in 1984, which is kind of funny because my characters were the same age that I was at in 1984. So it was fun. But I have like a whole shoebox full of index cards of everything about my characters. And then that novel has a lot of characters. It has at least, I don't know, 40 or 50 of them. But it's generational. It has the main teenagers, their parents, and then grandparents and great-grandparents in a way. But it's been fun. And then I keep putting in like all the ideas. So in a way, that was my series notebook, but in index cards. I'm really liking them. And this time, thanks to Sarah, was doing the index cards and clicking and punching a hole and then using the rings. And that's when I decided, well, I can put them in different categories. Like I've got one with all my main characters. And that's from Maple River. Because I have to keep track of their last names as well as the family connections. And then I have my chapter summaries, which so far I've got 19 summary cards figured out. And I've actually written, I think I've got 3 more chapters I have to do for the chapter summary. So I'm kind of doing that before I actually start with drafting. So it's a little bit fun. And then I have all the other different categories in bundles in the same color. So it's nice to keep them categorized in the different colors, and it's easy, but I'm really into color coding things, so that's easier. Like I even won't go as far as when I'm going through and revising the chapters that's already printed, I use the color of my character. My main ones are pink, purple, light blue, and like a lime green. So it's been interesting. But right now I'm doing my summaries and from like my task blocks and my journaling and my cards and all that stuff. Because I'm just not ready for words yet. So I guess I'll be doing words after lunch. And if you're looking for another sprinter, HK Darkwood sprints Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and I think the next person for the heart breathings isn't until after supper. I think it's like 6 p.m. So yeah, and she starts at 3:30 Eastern. I wanted to try Sarah's method, but it wasn't working for me. I may try again, but it seems like having it organized in a linear way and chart list of scenes work for me. Okay, yeah, that is, and that's the best thing about writing. You don't have to do it her way, his way. You can just do whichever way you want. And I understand a lot of writers do. I just make a list of scenes they want to do, either with scene cards or just in a notebook, and they just write whatever scene they want. I tend to not be able to do that. I have to start with like chapter 1, go through, and I try to now when I write a chapter, I don't go back and edit until that chapter is done. But it's been hard. But a lot of people also write the entire first draft and then go back and revise and edit, and I don't know how my brain doesn't work that way. Hello, Beth, who's talking to her sister. Books with Chris is also working on the WDC. That is awesome. So the next round of breaks, maybe we can all update of what we're doing. I'm going to bring back this timer back to 25 minutes since we chatted for about 10, and I'll see you at the other side of 25 minutes. Happy writing. And that was the second sprint together. How did everybody do? I'll just read JM's comment. If it will let me. It's being really slow today. I don't know why. Okay. Thanks for mentioning HK Darkwood. I've been needing sprints at different times than the rest of the HB group usually do. And this week everyone's linking to other sprint posters. It has been great. So I posted a bunch of links to their channels. HK Darkwood. She, like I said earlier, she sprints for 3 hours at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. I try not to miss hers, but lately I've just been overwhelmed, exhausted, so I not to want to sprint when I'm in those moods, but I have found out that a lot of time in the evenings, like right now with Jenna's, she'll be hosting, she hosts tonight. It's a little bit later now with the time change, and I just tend to want to just read those after supper sprints. And here's another one, Sarah Cirodi. She, if you sprint with the Hardy, she may recognize her name because she's a Hardy and she's just like me, sprinting on her own, kind of filling in the gaps. She normally sprints Sundays right after Mel's, and lately she's been sprinting Monday in the morning, but not too early, kind of just before me. And then we have, I shared Devin. She's also a Hardy, and she sprints a few days a week. Check out her channel. I think hers are mostly like around this time. I know now she's sprinting. And through HK Darkwood, I discovered Melissa, and she usually does an all-day marathon on her own, kind of like our double down day. I know she did that for the first day of fall. She hosted for like 8 or 9 hours, and now she's been hosting early in the morning. Like I'm talking for I think it's like the earliest I think is like 6:30 or 7:30 Eastern, but it's usually in the mornings, at least for November. JM got 611. Chris got 370. That is, they're great word counts, especially for only 25 minutes. I know some of the sprinters now, hostesses, are going more like the 40, 50 minute. Personally, 25 or 30 are good for me. I do tend to write a lot with the revised writer 3C over on her channels over the weekends, and we started doing 45-minute sprints. Oh, it's been, I want to say pretty close to a year. She would give us an option of like 30 minutes or 25 in combinations, and most of us like the 45. Sometimes I do, sometimes I just want a break after 30 minutes, so that's why I'm kind of keeping it 25 to 30 minutes. And this timer, which I will knock back restart, is from Laura Nettles. I decided to use this one because of, well, it has a cauldron on it. Self-explanatory with Miranda's cauldron. So the next set of cards I'm going to shuffle and draw is Cats Against Anxiety. And I hear a little kitty meowing. I'm not sure who that is. Oh, that's one of the older cats. She probably wants to go outside. Okay, so I shuffle, then I'm going to just pick one. And the one we got is a long-haired tabby. Positivity is a choice. Positive thinking. In your interactions today, aim to make the kindest interpretation of someone's actions. Try to assume the best intention from people and see how this reaction affects your peace of mind. I did a fair bit of catching up on my journaling and my cards that I draw. I also did a summary of the cards that I drew for the month of October. I did find there was a lot of blank spaces. which basically some days I was either too focused on other things to get journaling and cards drawn in the morning that I just didn't. And sometimes there was like a whole week that I didn't do any. However, when I do host the writing streams like this, I do draw my cards. Sometimes I mark them down in my journal, other times I don't. Okay, so we're almost, I guess we're only a minute in. So during this break or the beginning of the next writing sprint, don't forget to go for a walk, have a little stretch. Are you drinking any water? I know I have to refill my cup. This is my second cup of coffee, and that's usually my limit. But with the chilly and cold and windy outside and snow in the ground and snow in the window, I may just have to have a hot chocolate because it is getting pretty chilly up here. The joys of living in a 100-year-old plus farmhouse when you're in the attic, upstairs, really more of an attic, but upstairs, that it's pretty windy when you're right by the window. And I would love to be able to move my desk away from the window, but this room really isn't compatible to rearranging things. Okay, so we did our updates. How about we just continue into our next sprint, which will be, this is a 30 minutes. So we have been chatting for over 5 minutes. So I'm going to dial this back to the 30 minutes, and that will bring us to quarter to the hour. And we'll probably do just like a 15-minute, 20-minute cool down kind of deal. So I'll see you in 30 minutes. And that was the end of that sprint. I'm just going to bring up the next sprint for we can use. Let's see. Just going to continue with this little cat, and I'll just play around with that afterwards. Hello, Alexandria. For the remainder of this sprint, I'm going to try and get my office tidy. All I can say is good luck with that. I tend to have, some people will say, too many rocks and figurines and candles and whatnot on my desk. At least I have a rather large desk. It's one of those quarter desks, and I have a shelf over top. Just if you can see it, but even my couple, like my shelving unit above, is full of stuff. I tend to rearrange my stones every other month. Depends on how messy I get. I'm done all my morning kind of things I like to get done, my journaling and my task blocks for the day before. I still haven't done my reflection questions from last week. I did get them all done for the month, so that was productive. I brought up my next chapter that I have to read through again. Very brief revisions, like if anything just like jumps out at me kind of deal, because this read through, I'm doing a summary for my index cards. So I'm doing chapter 20. Runic has, for my color code for this one, it's all over the place because of the colored index cards I have. I don't typically use the yellow pen, but I do have a orange yellow, or an orange one I might use. But for the card, it's just the kind of like a yellowish orange. So that's what I'm working on. So it's been fun, considering that I wrote it last November. So I'm just gonna read it over and see how things changed and all that fun stuff that writers tend to do. Chris got 567 words. Wow. So you've gotten probably over 1,000 words already. That is fabulous. I ended up, I'm still participating in the Rough Draft Challenge until I start actually writing words on, like actually drafting. If I'm drafting, I usually can get about 500 words thereabouts every 25 to 30 minutes. So when I'm doing the index cards and summaries and all that kind of stuff, I'm counting every task block, which is either 25 or 30 minutes, that I'm giving myself 500 words. Even though so far this month, I've only been at it for 4 days, because there's one day that I ended up spending the day with the family. So that was no writing day. And then another day I did other stuff, and that was Monday, because I hosted sprints on Monday. So I did other stuff during my sprint time, and then the rest of the day, I don't want to say I played hooky because I was refilling it well. I was reading. I even read some with Save the Cat, which I really would like to finish. But anyhow, that's for kind of my downtime. 769. Wow, in one sprint. Those are really good words. Really good words. I'm impressed. So it's actually 10 to the hour. I could either round it up and say, okay, we're done for today. However, since there's quite a few people here and Alexandria just showed up, how about we do another just a regular 20-minute sprint to kind of get all those last kind of words and ideas on paper of some kind. And then I need a break. And then in about 2 hours, I will be back at my desk. Maybe even before. I'll have to see what I feel like. And then we finish with these summaries. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for popping in. Are you staying? Because we're going to do one more sprint. It's because I'm at the easy fun part for the ends integration of the suspect. So you're not drafting a brand new, you're just continuing on the projects that you're working on. Gotcha. Thank you for staying. Okay, yeah, gotcha. I'm doing stuff anyway, and why not? Just keep on going. We'll do another, who knows, 20 minutes is 20 minutes. It's better than nothing, but I think I'm just going to do a regular 25-minute sprint. And then that way, maybe I will get this chapter done. Let me see how many words are in this chapter. It's 4,000 words. So maybe I'll be able to get this chapter all summarized before my lunch break. We'll see. It's first draft. But it's easy dialogue. I gotcha. Fun. Okay, I'm gonna before we continue, since I'm in the mood, I'm going to do cat with some cards. See what the kitty cats have to say. Okay, we'll ignore that drop. We'll go shuffle, and I'll spread it out and see which one I'm going to grab. It is family. Oh, how fitting. Family. Fitting for me because last Saturday I spent the whole day, I left the house at 6 o'clock in the morning because, well, hopefully I'm not going to hit any triggers, but I come from a long line of hunters, and I married a hunter. So it's hunting season. So if I was going to spend the day with the grandbaby and that side of the family, I would have to leave the house at 6 a.m. So on double down day, instead of getting words, I got extra baby cuddles. And then this Saturday is going to be another full day with family. And I've been talking to my daughter a lot more this past couple of months. It's really rough when your grown children move away from home. But in her case, to her, she went back home. Because when she was little, she grew up in Alberta. Instead of being in Saskatchewan, she decided to go back to Alberta for college, and she stayed there. So I'm going to bring this timer back to the full 25 minutes, and we'll see you at the end of 25 minutes. Happy writing. Okay, that was the end of our sprinting session together. Let me just stop sharing the screen and shutting it down. Okay, so how did everybody do? I did not finish this chapter for summary. I ended up doing a little of revisions, just minor stuff, taking things out, questioning, putting up some notes in my index and my post-it notes. Problem with the park that the kids are in right now, I'm not sure if I want it to be like critter apostrophe S park or just critters as in plural. I have it both, so I will have to think about it and make a decision. But I don't need to make that decision now. That's when I'm all done, because it doesn't really matter, because if I'm changing it, I just keep it the same all the way through and then change it when I'm done writing it. Not a problem. Okay, JM got another 782 words. Wow. And Alexandria has been very productive while watching a lecture on world building. Ooh, that sounds like fun. I love world building. Personally, that's one of the first things I do when I create a new story. Not really like a major world changes, but I have to do for example, this Maple River, I started with my map of my town and all the streets and what stores were going to be in it, and switched to all the characters' homes, their floor plan. And for this one's pretty interesting because I'm using this town based on my hometown. The school that the kids are attending, because this story is being, the timeline is September. So the school that I've decided to use is basically the high school I grew up in, and the characters' homes are my aunts and uncles and my grandparents. So it's a lot about me, a lot of me in the story. Yeah. So that's the kind of how I do world building, because it's all pretty much in today's world. So other than one of my stories is a magical place, think Hogwarts, but instead of a big castle, we've got cabins in a camp setting. So that's the extent of my world building. Chris got 581 words. Wow, you guys are doing such a good job. I wish I had that glitter stuff that a lot of the other hosts do. Maybe I should look into that. I did try to send one of those, but it was just so quickly that it didn't work. So I'm going to have to expand on that, especially now when I'm sprinting more frequently. So the next time that I will be sprinting will be a Friday at the same time, because Angie's gone, so I'm taking over her spot till she comes back. I think sometimes that's the best, so you don't have to overthink it too much. The layouts. Exactly. And when I did I did all those plans, the floor plans, just for memory. The school, there was some parts that I was kind of, is this the science wing or wasn't it? Even though it doesn't really make a difference. And okay, there's outside doors, but is that really where it went? So it was fun because I got to post it on my Facebook page, and a few of my cousins chimed in, and a few other people I went to high school with. So that was always fun. Okay, so we are going to call it a day. HK Darkwood, if you're interested in sprinting again, will be hosting in 2 hours over at her channel. And then with the Heart Breathings later today is both Jenna at 6 Eastern and then Rhiannon afterwards. Tomorrow, Diane, she should be hosting about 1 Eastern. No, 2 Eastern? 2 Eastern. So you can catch her for tomorrow. And maybe Jody Jean Daniels will be posting tomorrow, but just keep an eye on her Facebook arc on the calendar because she's out and about doing life stuff. And thank you for popping in. Thank you for showing up for yourself, your writing, and for each other. See you in a couple hours over at HQ Darkwood, and if not, at Genesis Night. Bye for now.